Hello, welcome to more yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you are doing well and that you're ready for a little bit of sneaky core work today. So, most of what we'll be doing is very gentle flow, a little bit of sun salutations, and a little bit of sneaky core work built into it. Um, as always, with core work, go as hard as you want to, right? Which might not be very hard at all, particularly if you're pregnant or expecting. I don't want you to give yourself diastasis recti, because that's no fun. You don't want your abdominal walls to split like that. Um, but for those of you who aren't expecting, you know, maybe today's the day to give yourself that little bit of extra challenge. I will give lots of steps, lots of alternatives and options along the way. So let's start lying down. I have blocks here. I don't know if I'm going to need them at all, but I always like to have them nearby just in case, or something as rather not or, and something that is nice to kneel on, something a little bit squishier. And then take your time setting up, always depending on how your day has been so far, right? Do you want to get some wiggles out? Do you feel like, oh, right away you can just lie down? Do whatever you need to do. You might choose to lie here with your legs outstretched. Maybe you choose to bend the knees and take the feet a little bit wider than your hips so that the knees can hang in toward each other. Maybe you choose to take a butterfly pose. Maybe you're just going full starfish here, and that is awesome also, whatever feels comfortable for you. And then for 3 breaths, inhale through your nose and exhale, sigh your breath away. Couple more, just like that, slow and sweet breath. I invite you to close your eyes if they aren't already. Part of yoga, one of the 8 steps of yoga is pratyahara, which is the withdrawal of senses. So sight is an easy one to remove by gently closing the eyes. Taste is easy enough to remove. Smell-ish, hearing not so much. Touch, pretty hard to remove or withdraw from that sensation. So a few more breaths here, just going inward. Maybe you focus on your breath and feel the movement of that. Maybe you just find a single point of focus on your heart, even for today. A few more breaths here. Last couple breaths. Stay here longer if you would like to. Or maybe you start to bring a little bit of movement back to your body, whatever way feels best for you to wake up. Could be a little wiggle of your fingertips or toes, or rock at the head from side to side, or maybe you're taking some big yawning stretches, wherever you need to go. And then when you're ready, start to bend your knees and draw your legs or your knees in toward your chest. Maybe take a little rock here from side to side, massaging at the base of the spine and the pelvis. Maybe it's low back. Just going wherever you need to go for a few breaths. And then, if it feels all right, maybe even interlace your hands over top of the shins or clasp your hands, drawing your shins a little bit closer toward you. You'll get a bit more compression through the hip sockets as well as through the belly here. Maybe this is where you stay. Maybe you gently start to curl your nose toward your knees, keeping the tension out of your neck and your shoulders. Last option is to start to press your shins up to the sky. So getting deep flexion here through the spine. Nice release for the low back, but also sneaky warming up the core. Last breath here. And then come on back down to the floor. Bring your feet back to the floor. Keep your knees bent. So setting up for a bridge pose. Feet hip width apart, parallel-ish, and close enough into your bum that you can tickle your heels with your... I've been doing yoga for a long time, but I still reach around and make sure that my feet are set up properly. Okay, pressing the heels into the floor, especially as you inhale. Lift your pelvis, your spine up and away from the floor. And as you exhale, slowly start to roll back down. Inhale to lift up into your bridge, and exhale to lower back down. So a few more of these on your own time, on your own breath. And the next time that you lift up into bridge, pause there. So once you're up, you might choose, just to be in a lower bridge today. Maybe you want to walk up a little bit higher. Maybe you go onto the outside edge of your shoulders. You could clasp your hands behind you if you wish. Sometimes it feels nice to take robot arms and even give your hips a little lift with the hands, but that turns into quite a deep back bend, so only go where it feels good for you. And make sure the knees aren't winging out to the side. Keep tracking your thighs in neutral so the knees won't touch, but they're also not flaring out to the side. Squeeze the bum a little bit more. Keep pressing the floor away from you. We're just going to hold bridge for a few more breaths. Last 3, 2, 1. If your hands are clasped, unclasp them, and then exhale slowly. Roll back down to the floor. Take your feet mat width apart and allow the knees to allow. Just do a little windshield wiper with the legs. Sometimes we get stuck in this sort of like gentle cueing for yoga. The funniest cue I ever heard was, allow your blocks to come to the top edge of your mat. And I was just sort of standing there waiting for them to move on their own. Okay, draw your knees back into your chest. Little rock from side to side. And then reach your legs up to the sky. Now your knees could be deeply bent here, or they could be straight. We're just going to point and flex through the ankles and toes, or draw circles here. Maybe the arms reach up. You could draw circles through the wrists, or any kind of finger movement that feels good. You might even start to bend and straighten the legs a little bit. And then come back to center here. Okay, from here, start to hug the legs toward each other. Maybe the feet touch, maybe they don't. It doesn't really matter, again, how deeply bent the knees are. They don't have to be super wicked straight, but I want you to start to flex your feet or your toes back towards your face a little bit. So it's as if you're pressing the soles of the feet into the sky, right? As if you're standing there. So keep hugging the legs toward each other. Draw your lower your belly button toward your spine. So you feel your low back pressing into the floor. I want you to maintain that so that at no point should you release that space between the low back and the earth. So really pressing it into the sky. Hands might come behind your head or reach up to the sky if you wish. The whole time, can you imagine that you've got an orange between your chin and your chest so you're not flexing through the neck. Okay, from here, take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, lift the tailbone up off the floor. So very small reverse crunch, and then inhale, reach the upper body up off the floor. Sharp exhale, belly button to spine. Inhale, lift everything up a bit higher, and exhale slowly. Come back down to the floor. Inhale here. Exhale, lift the tailbone up. Inhale, the upper body. Sharp exhale, belly button to spine. Inhale, lift everything up a bit higher. And exhale, come back down. Again, you might be using the hands behind your head. Inhale here. Exhale, lift the tailbone up off the floor. Inhale, the upper back up off the floor. Keep the space between the chin. Sharp exhale, belly button to spine. Inhale, lift everything up a little bit higher. And exhale, come back down one last time. Inhale here. Exhale, lift the tailbone up. Inhale, the upper body. Sharp exhale, belly button to spine, and then pause here. Keep the back of the neck long. Maybe you have the hands behind your head for a little bit more support. Keep lifting everything up a little bit higher. Keep hugging the legs toward each other. And then slowly exhale, release. Shake out the legs. Maybe a little windshield wiper here of the knees. Whoo! Okay, next thing before we give this a little bit of a break, we're going to give you lots of options along the way. First option is you're going to have one hand behind your head for a little bit of support. You're just going to crunch up and reach one direction, reach the other direction, come back down, switch hands, inhale, and then a little reach. Second option, bring your palms together, press the palms together. And then as you exhale, curl up into a little mini crunch, little twist and twist and twist and twist. So 4 little twists, and then come back down. Third option, again, palms pressing toward each other, curl up, and then, oh geez, that was hard. Come up into a almost full sit-up position, twist, 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 and then come back down. Okay, so that was a lot of demoing. Take whatever step, wherever option feels best for you. When you're ready, let's start to move. So slowly come back up and twist, 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 and exhale, come back down. Again, maybe you're just doing the smaller crunch, just getting the shoulder blades off the floor, getting those 4 twists in. Maybe you've got one hand behind the head for extra support. Wherever you are, a few more breaths here. Getting a little bit of spinal flexion, which is working your abdominals, particularly the rectus abdominis, the ones that are perfect for flexing the trunk, but also here, your obliques, which help you twist. Keep the spine long as you twist. Let's get 2 more full rounds. Last one. Crunch up or sit up, twist, 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 and then slowly come back down. Oh, big yawning overhead stretch. And then maybe you rock and roll up and down your spine here, or just roll to one side. But let's make our way to hands and knees, and then move into a little bit of cat and cow, just to help release the core. So knees underneath hips, toes tucked or untucked, hands nice and wide, outer shoulder width apart or wider. Inhale, lift the tailbone, hollow through the lower back. Oh, let's pause here in this back bend and cow. Little wiggle of the hips from side to side. Maybe you pull yourself forward a little bit, just releasing through your abdominals. And then exhale, tuck the tailbone round through the spine. Press the floor away. Inhale into cow. And exhale around into cat. So a few more of these. undulations on your own time, on your own breath. You might take that little wiggle from side to side. You might start to take bigger circles here, just moving however you need to move. And then slowly come back to center. Now you might choose to stay on hands and knees, particularly if downward facing dog doesn't work for you these days. Otherwise, tuck your toes and then exhale, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Now, in down dog, your knees can be deeply bent, right? They do not need to be straight. You might pedal the heels a little bit here, just releasing into the calf muscles. Make sure that you're not hyperextending through the chest, so the chest isn't dropping between your hands here. Little micro bend in the knees or even a deeper bend so that you can really start to reach your sit bones back to the back wall. Press the floor away from you with your hands. And then whether you're in down dog or on hands and knees, look forward, and on your exhale, walk, step, or hop to the top edge of the mat. Standing forward fold. A little sway if you like to. Maybe you rest your elbows on your knees or thighs for a bit more support, or maybe you use blocks underneath your hands. You could clasp opposite elbows with hands, whatever you need. Last couple breaths here. And then release any bind you might have with fingertips to your shins or blocks or the earth. Inhale, little partway lift, belly button to spine. Pause here. Micro bend in the knees, and then make sure the hips are shooting back, right? So stick your booty back like you're trying to close the door behind you. Belly button to spine, shoulder blades on the back. Beam your heart forward. Exhale, let it all go. Couple more, just like that. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Last one. And then bend your knees. Head heavy, arms heavy. Slowly start to roll up to standing. One vertebra at a time. As slow as you need to go. Till eventually you come all the way up. Fix your clothes. A couple loops of your shoulders up, back, and down. Little wiggle, noodle, or release. Shake it out a little bit. Let's do a couple sun salutations just to get the body temperature up slightly. So feet hip width apart, shoulder blades on your back. On your inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. Exhale, melt to the earth. Forward fold. Fingertips to shins. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, plant your hands flat. On your inhale, step back to plank. So the top of a push-up, either from your toes or from your knees, wherever feels best for you, but press the floor away from you. Squeeze your bum. Squeeze the tops of the thighs. And then draw your lower ribs up to the sky, not the hips. So you're not piking up, but you're also not letting the hips sink. Last couple breaths here. The more you squeeze the bum, the more you squeeze the tops of the thighs, the more it feels like you're floating. Okay, you can always come down to your knees first. Exhale, lower all the way down to the earth. Little wiggle of your hips from side to side. Untuck your toes. Press the tops of the feet into the floor, so much so you feel your kneecaps lift away. Tailbone to the back wall, belly button to spine, shoulder blades on your back. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra. Exhale, lower back down. So a few of these back extensions, which is also working your core on your own time. Keep the back of the neck long and try not to press up too much. So we're not using our arms here, we're really using the muscles of the back. You could even let the hands hover so that you're testing that. Maybe you pause at the top. Maybe you're taking a little bit of movement here as well. But last 3 full breaths. Back of the neck stays long. So you're looking down rather than forward. And the next time that you come back down, plant your hands, tuck your toes. Exhale, lift up and back, hands and knees, or downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk, step, or hop to the top edge of your mat.
Inhale, little partway lift, belly button to spine. Exhale, fold. Charge your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. Exhale, right back down to the earth. Forward fold. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, plant your hands. Inhale, hop, step, or float back to plank. Exhale, lower all the way or partway to the earth. Inhale through your back bend. And exhale, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk, step, or hop to the top edge of your mat. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Charge your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. Exhale, right back down to the earth. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Okay, little change here. On your inhale, step your right leg back. Pause here. And then on your inhale, come up to a high lunge position, but we're going to bend both knees. Wrap the back hip forward, front hip back. So we're just here. Whee! That floor was slipperier than I thought it would be. Both knees bent. Doesn't have to be 90 degrees. Back knee should be up off the floor though, unless this is a really super tricky, challenging position for you. Bring your palms in front of you, press them together, and we're just going to start to take little twists, like shoulder to shoulder to start with. Find your balance. Now you might choose to stay here. At any point, feel free to take a break. Maybe you start to take bigger twists. Keep your hips pointing forward the whole time. Keep pressing palm into palm, getting a little bit of chest work. Right, really feeling your core fire up. Last breath here. Exhale, fold forward. Plant your hands, inhale, step back, plank. Exhale, lower all the way or part way. Inhale through back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk, step, or hop to the top edge of your mat. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Charge your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. Exhale, right back down to the earth. Forward fold. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Okay, here, this time, step your left leg back. On your inhale, come up to your high lunge position, but again, keeping both knees bent. So more of a fitness lunge than a yoga lunge, right? Wrap the left hip forward, draw the right hip back, sink into those knees, belly button to spine, shoulder blades on your back. Bring your hands in front of you, palm to palm. Let's get those minuscule rotations going, right? Squeeze the bum on the back leg for more support. Shoulder to shoulder. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you bring in bigger rotations, but only through the upper body. The hips stay as still as possible here. Last few breaths. Okay, awesome work. Fold forward, plant your hands, step back to your plank. Exhale, lower all the way down to the earth. Little wiggle of the hips from side to side. Untuck the toes. Inhale, lift the heart forward up, baby cobra. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you start to press the hands into the floor a little bit more to come up. But make sure if you come up that you don't feel the low back. If you feel the low back, try squeezing the bum. If you still feel the low back, then back out of the height, right? Maybe you're just in baby cobra and that's awesome. Last couple of breaths. And then slowly come back down to the floor. Clench your hands. Press yourself up to hands and knees. Little wiggle or shake or cat and cow. Okay, shift to your hips on one side and then swing your legs forward. One last little sneaky core exercise before we bring it down to rest. So as always, you're gonna have lots of options here. First one is to have your hands behind you the whole time.
right? Just sitting in a supported V-sit. I think probably legs hugging toward each other is going to be a little bit more active here. Second option, one hand stays behind you, opposite hand presses into the thigh. Okay, so now we're getting some weird kind of ipsilateral work. Last option, one arm reaches on long back behind you. So wherever you are, join me now. Keep pressing the hand into the thigh if you're doing that. Keep reaching the top arm away if you're doing that. Keep the spine long. You don't want to round. Right? The more you lean back, the more challenging this will be, particularly if that arm is raised. Last few breaths here. Okay, ready? Let's switch. You can break it up in between. Switch sides. Maybe both hands are still behind you. Maybe one hand is here, one hand on the thigh. Or maybe you reach that arm up, hug the legs toward each other, press the palm into the thigh into the palm. Keep breathing here. It will be trembling or trembly. I don't know if that's a word. It'll be shaky. How about that? Last couple of breaths. Okay, back out of it. Whew, awesome work. Enough of that. Lie back onto your back. Maybe you do one last sneaky little Pilates roll down to get there. Otherwise, come onto your back, however feels best for you. And then draw your knees into your chest. Little rock from side to side. Let's get a nice twist to release those obliques. So right arm goes out to the side. You might shift your hips right a little bit to start with. And then exhale, lower your knees to the left. So here we go. This twist can be as gentle or as deep as you want it to be. Any variation, whether the knees are stacked, maybe take a single leg twist or cross the legs. You can always bring a block or a pillow underneath your bottom knee for a bit more support, or maybe between your thighs. Go wherever you need to go, but let it be a release. It shouldn't feel like work here. Because we did a lot of obliques work. So let's give them a chance to stretch. Or at least to release tension. Okay, on your inhale, come back to center. And then reset your pelvis, your spine. Let's take the twist the opposite side. Left arm out to the side. Lower your legs to the right. Again, as gentle or as deep as you need. And it might feel super different from one side to the other, and that's pretty normal. A few more slow and sweet breaths here. On your inhale, slowly return to center. Draw your knees back in toward your chest, but take them wide out toward your shoulders or armpits. You can stay here rocking a little bit from side to side. Maybe you kick your feet to the sky for happy baby. You can grab the backs of the thighs or somewhere along your legs, your ankles, or your feet. And again, maybe you're still, or maybe you rock a little bit from side to side, wherever you need to go. And if there's anything else you feel like you need before your rest, as always, feel free to go where you need to go. Otherwise, think about where you would like to end today, whether it's flat on your back, legs bent, or straight in Shavasana. You might rest on your side, or in child's pose, or in a seated meditation. It's super important to give yourself this time so that your body can reintegrate. Right? It gives your mind that little bit of time to do nothing. Right? Arguably, your resting pose is the most important pose of your yoga practice. But anyway, for 3 breaths, inhale through your nose. Exhale, sigh your breath away. Couple more. And then let go of your breath control. Return to your natural breath. Let go of any last muscle gripping or holding, particularly in your face or your jaw. With each exhale, let your body melt a little bit deeper into the earth. And stay here longer if you can, 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.